Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev. This is the podcast where we talk all things insurance. This is the podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting episode of the Wine Down with Kev podcast. This is the podcast where we talk all things insurance, all things business, all things with a sip and a glass in your hand, whatever you like to drink. This is daytime, so today my drink of choice is a little water. So I'm really excited. In a few seconds, I'm going to introduce my guest for today. But first, let me start by thank you for all of our loyal subscribers that have clicked on Wine Down with Kev, that have liked it. We need you to sustain this podcast. So right now or at the end, if you like what you see, you like what you hear, please click on the Wine Down with Kev link on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Also today, super excited to shout out our first sponsor. Big shout out to DJ Carol Media, all things social, all things media, whatever you need. DJ and Carol Media is the go-to. But enough about that. If you tuned in today, you have tuned in not to hear from me, but from my phenomenal guests. So let me tell you about my guest today. Yes, I'm going to read because she's awesome, and I don't want to skip a beat. She is a graduate of the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. She is an elite agent, Agency Achievement Award winner, All-State Leaders Forum, Circle of Champions, honoring Inner Circle Elite, National Summit, Pinnacle Elite. She's involved in her community by sponsoring local teams, something that I love. She is the wife to Josh, and she is the new mom to her wonderful son, Nolan, a little bit over a year ago. I think that's kind of new. Ladies and gentlemen, straight out of Birmingham, Alabama, Amanda Mitchell.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me today, Kevin. It's awesome to finally meet you in person. I feel like I know you in some of the groups we are in together, but super excited to be here today.
Absolutely. An absolute pleasure to have a first-time conversation with you on a podcast. So for the listeners, are you like a podcast vet? Do you do this all the time, or is this your first podcast?
This is my very first podcast, so I was a little nervous. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm trying to do more things out of my comfort zone in 2025. So hopefully this is not my last.
Hey, so please show some love to Amanda in the comments. If that's one of your things for this year, if you want to get out of your comfort zone, if you're doing the same old thing, expecting the different results, that's not it. You got to step out like Amanda today. So put some clap your hand emojis, some you go girls, all of that good stuff in there, and make Amanda feel comfortable and encourage and support her throughout this live stream and podcast that's all over today. So Amanda, 50 podcasts, 50 agents, 50 states. I'm happy to be in Birmingham, Alabama with you this morning. I took my first trip ever to Alabama last year, spent some time in Huntsville with Craig, went down to Montgomery. I visited my best friend's mother and spent time out there. And on that journey, I forget the name of the highway. We drove through Birmingham, but I didn't stop. So for anybody that hasn't been to Birmingham, please paint a modern day picture of Birmingham for us today.
Birmingham's really awesome. The last become what I think is a foodie scene. We have great restaurants, really great restaurants, and they keep opening new restaurants. Several James Beard award-winning chefs in our area, and of course, Birmingham is all about football. The first thing you get asked whenever you live here, move here, is, do you go for Alabama or Auburn? Of course, being an Alabama graduate, I'm a big Roll Tider, but it's all about football, family, faith, That's what Birmingham is all about. You can't go half a mile without passing a church. So that's pretty much our motto down here.
I love it. I love it. Football, family, and faith, the three F's. There's a famous quote about that, but I know it. I think it's football, family, and faith in that order. I might be wrong. I like to go family. I like to go faith, family, then football.
Yes,
But I'm not in Alabama.
that's correct. No, that's correct.
Okay.
Faith is first.
Faith, family, then football. In that order?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Amanda, we're going to talk a lot about insurance, but I like to kick these podcasts off with a little fun. And you had some fun in your agency on Monday with the inauguration. You had an amazing person. You had a Trump impersonator. I got to know, who is it and where did that idea come from?
So I had no idea until a few days before. So last week, he was just messing around. His name's Matthew. He's actually brand new to our office. He's only been with us for a couple of months. He was a customer service manager at Publix, the grocery store, for many years. But he is new to the insurance world, and little did we know he can do impersonations. So I hope to have him on more videos of mine in the future. But it was just a funny thing. He did an impersonation the week before of Trump, just being silly when we were chit-chatting over lunch. And I was like, oh my goodness, all the bells went off in my head. I said, we've got to make a video on Monday. And it was just hilarious. It was super fun to have him on, because you sometimes get tired of, just talking to the camera by yourself. So love to have him, and I hope to have him on more in the future to do some more fun impersonations.
Well, kudos to you and your leadership for finding a new person in the Publix, and kudos to you for tapping into a skill set to let someone new do something amazing like that in your agency. So before you guys come after me with any comments at all, this is not a political commentary. I don't do that. It's just fun. So check out Amanda's page on Facebook, like her page, follow her. You'll enjoy his impersonation. I thought it was great. I thought it was absolutely fantastic what he did. So Amanda, tell us a little bit about your backstory, your second generation. So let's talk about that a little bit. Talk about what watching your dad being an Allstate agent, what that meant to you and how it inspired you.
Absolutely. So my dad was in insurance for a long time. He was with one of our competitors before coming over to Allstate, Big Blue. But he started about, now it's probably about been 28 years ago with Allstate. He did retire in 2019. But I remember saying, I will never be in insurance and I'll never be a realtor, because my dad was in insurance and my mom was a realtor. And here I am in the insurance industry. But really grew up with insurance being top of mind. And I like to say I bleed blue for Allstate. But I graduated college in 2009 and went right. My first job was with the claims department, the auto claims department here in Birmingham. We had a location here. I think that's gone remote now, but I determined liability for accidents. So I got to determine who was at fault for accidents. Joy, super fun. So sometimes I had to deliver bad news, but I really grew as a person, it being my first job out of college, learned a lot about the insurance industry. And after about a year and a half, I decided to apply for a position to be a national catastrophe adjuster, a property adjuster on Allstate's national catastrophe team. So in 2011, I became a adjuster for the CAT team and got to travel all across the U.S. After bad storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, hailstorms was the majority of what I worked. And I really got to see insurance in a different light, because insurance sometimes gets a bad rap, but I really got to see Allstate step up and do what they do best. I always will remember that in every location I traveled across the U.S., Allstate was the first company to have boots on the ground and presence in the area. I remember they would fly us to a location, before the storm even hit, so we could be there ready to go to help our customers in their time of need. So it was during my time on the CAT team that I said, oh man, I think I want to be an Allstate agent. I think it would be fantastic to be able to help my local community with their insurance needs and be there when they do have, a terrible day and maybe one of their worst days, and impact people locally that I know, and live, beside. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. My dad was a manager over a territory of agents. He had a lot of agent friends, and just so happens that one of his agents wanted to retire. He had been with Allstate for 34 years. So that kind of started playing out, where we had the conversations. Hey, he was a family friend of my dad's as well, and my family. So he said he wanted to retire after 34 years with Allstate, and we thought it would be a great opportunity for me and my husband to become Allstate agents. So I worked for an agent for a year, a successful agent here in the Birmingham area. She's fantastic. She's still very successful, and I learned a lot from her. My husband worked for another Allstate agency owner here in town as well. We did that for about a year, learned as much as we could. And then in April of 2016, we took over our agency, and it's called the Burns Mitchell Agency because the prior agent's last name was Burns, and we just wanted to continue the legacy that he has created here in our community. So
I love
we
it.
kept his last name.
I love it.
And
I love it. I
and
love
like
it.
I always like to say, the rest has been history
I
since
love
then.
it. I love it. Sorry to over talk you in that
That's
second. So, I want to come to you and your husband in a second, but I want to dial back to 2011. For our listeners, if anyone doesn't know what the CAT team is, that's the catastrophe team. We handle catastrophes around the country. Amanda, 2011, me being here in New York, the cat that came here, the storm that hit here was obvious to me. But can you dig a little bit deeper and talk about one or two of the catastrophic things that you went to? I think it's a very relevant conversation for us to have now because we're a week removed from the California wildfires.
Yeah.
You're in Birmingham. The South got hit with heavy snow this week. So can you talk
Yes.
about some of the named storms where literally you had boots on the ground before it happened and how you see us deliver on the promise that we make here at Allstate?
Yes. So there were actually a lot of storms in 2011, but one that comes to mind, I believe, was in the springtime of 2011. And I was sent to Georgia outside of the Atlanta area. It was tornadoes, thunderstorms, and the majority of the damage that I worked there were for tree damage. And I remember specifically working claims on houses that had trees just demolish the house. I mean, completely demolish. And Allstate was there and writing checks within 24 hours. I was going to share some of that as well, what I've seen us do here since I've been an agent in Birmingham. But this particular situation was in Georgia, and there were a lot of total losses. And again, the majority from tornado damage and trees, because there's a lot of trees in the South. So, I remember working and getting authority to process payments, 100,000, 200,000, and then total loss payments. There are specific adjusters for that. I was not a total loss adjuster, but I did handle a lot of large loss claims. And just seeing our presence in the communities with our mobile units there and on the ground, handing out food, snacks, waters, and just really showing up to claims, leadership, even showing up to claims, not just agents, but lots of agents and adjusters on the ground and going to people's homes, and just really having that familiar face there to say, hey, you're not alone. We're here for you, helping people relocate to hotels. I remember those things and I'll never forget them. Another storm that I worked was a huge hailstorm out west Arizona area, and did a lot of damage. I was on roofs most of the time, most days, meeting with contractors and our customers. But out there, again, we were there first. We were what they called deported, but they deported us to these locations before the storms hit. And I mean, it could be hundreds of adjusters. And I just remember, that the homes that were damaged, the roofs, the interior, the hail was so big, people's interiors of their homes were damaged. So the majority of what I worked were tornadoes, hailstorms, tropical storms. I wasn't really on the hurricane. I didn't go to a named hurricane in particular, but worked more of the storms once they were no longer named hurricanes, kind of higher up into the country. But it was just always amazing. I knew I wanted to have a career with this company because of the work that we did on the catastrophe team. It's a brand that people know and love, and it's been near and dear to me for a long time. It's helped, put me through college and allowed my family to have a great life. So I knew that, and it just, I guess, reassured me that this is a life thing for me, being an Allstate agent. I'm going to be here until I retire because of, the foundation that I had from being an auto claims adjuster and then being on the CAT team.
I love it. I love it. You've probably answered this already, but what do you love about being an insurance agent?
Really just helping people, educating people. It is amazing that we talk to people on a daily basis, and we're talking very successful professionals who have no idea what their insurance is all about and how it could impact them if they don't have the right coverage. So I think educating is something that I love doing. And I love to hear the person on the other end of the line or in person say, oh, wow, I never knew that it worked that way. Or, wow, I've never heard that before. I think I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. But mostly, my heart is on the claims, coming from claims side, is really the satisfaction I get out of getting to talk to people when they have had one of the worst days of their lives and one of their biggest assets is damaged, and getting to tell them it's okay. We have your back. We're here for you. You are in good hands. We wrote you the proper protection and coverage. That's why you have us as your local insurance agents to be there for you and make sure we look out for you. So when you do have a claim, you have what you need. So I think that's what I love most, getting to actually see policies in action and see what we've done to make sure that people have what they need, and then getting to reassure them that and be that calming voice to them when they call us and they have had either an accident or damage to their home.
Amanda, your experience is so amazing. I've been in this business for approaching 4 decades. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot, but I've never been on the top of roofs to write up claims. How does your experience help you with conversations with customers that are coming to you and they're not just looking for a competitive price, but they just want the cheapest price? What sort of information, if I was fortunate enough to move to Birmingham tomorrow and I was pressing you for coverage, Amanda, just give me the cheapest stuff possible. How do you educate and inform people about the importance of what coverage they need and they have to be protected against maybe some potential storms that might come to the Birmingham area?
Well, I do obviously use my experience a lot because I've got to see things that, the regular person may not have gotten to see, and all over different parts of our country. And Alabama is a higher risk state for storms. So I do share my experience. But I also, we lead with liability here at our office. It's not just about the protection for your house and your home, but also your assets and what you work hard for. The one thing that I like to use is, I've been on the other end of the line so many times over the last almost 15 years that I've been in insurance. And, no one has ever called me and asked me, on one of the worst days when they've had a claim, what they pay for their insurance. That's the very last thing that anyone's thinking about, is how much their insurance costs. All they want to know is that they have the peace of mind, that they have the coverage that they need. And I share that with people because I have seen, people just completely stressed and overwhelmed, by claims and a loss at their home or in their vehicles. And like I said, there's never been a time that someone has cared about the price in those moments. So I do share that, and I give them examples of times that I have handled a claim on the auto side or home side, and where someone hasn't had the coverage that they needed. And it's not a good conversation to have. And then in Alabama, we are a wage garnishment state. You can have your wages garnished up to 25% to pay back a judgment against you. So that's more on the liability side. But coverage is just so important because you work so hard for what you have, and you want to protect that, not only your house and home, but also your income. And you definitely don't want anything garnished. So, and a lot of times people's biggest assets are their home and their autos and, obviously their income. So.
I love it. I love it. So, Amanda, you have completely established yourself as the ultimate insurance professional that people should want to work with in Birmingham, Alabama, and Alabama statewide. But in my mind, I hear people asking the pressing question that they're thinking about. You shared you and your husband's journey of how you got there. But what people really want to know is, what's it like working with your husband on a day-to-day basis? Some people I don't have a lot of hair. I got to cut. I'm pretty fake. People are thinking, with my spouse every day, what is that like?
I'm so glad you asked that, Kevin. It has been quite the journey, and it has evolved over time. I will tell you that. So we got married at the end of 2015, in the fall of 2015, and then we, took over the agency April of 2016. So it was a lot. It was a lot of life change, and it was quick. We are very different. He really does a lot of the customer service side of our business. I like to work bringing on new customers, making sure they have the protection that they need, and introducing them kind of, to the agency. At the beginning, it was very difficult. It was a challenge because we are wired very differently. I'm more high strung and lots of energy. He's calm, never gets very high strung or worked up about anything. He's very low key, laid back. So we used to work very close in the office. Our desk and our offices were, I could see him through the door of my office. And we realized pretty quickly that was not going to work out very well. So we've learned over the years to stay in our lanes, stay doing what we are best at. And we try not to get in each other's way. His office is at the very front of the office. Mine is in the back. So we have made some separation there. And believe it or not, we do not ride in together to the office. So that is our alone time. We spend 24/7 together. So we try to have some separation during the day in our own spaces. So we've learned how to do it well. I couldn't have done this business without him. He's been such a integral part of our success over the years, but it was definitely challenging at the beginning. And it was a lot. It was very overwhelming and crazy at first, but we have learned to figure it out, and it's wonderful now.
I love it. You helped a lot of people with that answer. So let me ask you a logical question. Roll Tide, you're a football fan.
Roll Tide. Oh, yeah.
On the field, there are clear lines: inbounds, out of bounds, first down, short of the first down, the yellow marker, all of that. How do you guys make lines between the agency and between the family? Where are the lines at? What time does the business discussion, because this career can be all consuming. Full disclosure, people, Kev thinks about the business 24/7, but there's a time where I try to put the phone away. So what does that look like for you guys? Where are the lines? Where do we not discuss the sale, the lack of the sale, the claim? Where do we cut it off?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because that's something that my husband and I are very different in as well. And something that I have honestly struggled with. He is great about the moment he walks out of that threshold of that door, cutting it off and being where his feet are. And he's wonderful in that. And I admire him for it. I have the first several years of being an agency owner, I eat, sleep, breathe, our business. It's our business. And it was our baby until we had our son. But I've learned that has also evolved over the years. I've learned the importance of taking care of yourself so you can give it your all when you are in the office, and doing the things you need to do to be healthy outside of the office and to take that time with your family. I will share it because I'm proud to say since my son was born in 2023, he's almost 2. He'll be 2 in March. His name's Nolan. Our world really revolves around him. He is the joy of our lives. Really a miracle. He was our little miracle. But I have taken Fridays off ever since he was born, and I've stuck to it. I never thought in a million years I'd be able to stick to it just because I love what I do and I'm passionate about it. And to not be here is like you feel like you're missing an arm, but I knew it was right. And I knew it was time to manage that better, because you can really get to the point where that's all you're doing is all you think about is insurance and how to better your business and help more people and do new things. And, if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, your mind is constantly going. So, just the best advice is to make boundaries for yourself and know when too much is too much. Sleep, rest is so important, and time with your family is, because you just never know how long you have with them. And I just would say that you need to be aware of when too much is too much and not wear yourself down, because you won't have what you want to give to others if you're not healthy and feeling good.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
That
So
was what I was looking for. Thank you, Kevin. That's
no, no,
exactly
no.
what I
I'm
wanted to
listening
say.
to you. I live this. So on my calendar, I work ridiculous hours like most people, most agents out there,
Sure.
people, most people that are W-2 as opposed to 1099. And I love, you really said something to some people. So first, congratulations on
Oh,
having an miracle baby.
thank you.
But there's something there for the listening audience. How did you pivot to come to the decision that Friday's off? So it's so ingrained in the American entrepreneurial spirit. No days off, no days off, grind till the wheels come off. What was the struggle part, and what's been the blessing of coming to the decision of Friday's off?
I think the struggle part is like, this is who I am. This is who Amanda is. I'm an insurance agent. And I give it anything I do, I give it my all and I commit to it. And very type A personality. I like to be the best I can be at everything. And that has been a struggle for me, even being a mom, finding the balance and feeling like I have not given 100% here in the office and also as a mother. But I knew even before I had my son that I wanted to commit to the role of being a mother and to be there when he's young and doing all the first, and I didn't want him to be spending more time with other people than me, because that's difficult for me to to digest. And so I made that commitment, and I'm the type of person, like I said, if I make a commitment, I'm going to stick to it. So I said I was going to do that before he was born, and I haven't looked back, and it has been the greatest thing for me to reset, to have no distractions, because I'd love to say I've mastered this thing separating the business and walking out of the threshold like my husband, but I truly haven't. Monday through Thursday, I'm all into my business, and it's hard for me to cut things off when I get home at night. It really is. I'm working through that. I'm taking steps to do better. But I'm all into the business Monday through Thursday. And then really on Friday, it's me and my son. We get to do fun things like go to the zoo when it's a little bit warmer. I take him to jump parks. We go to Bass Pro Shop so he can sit on what he says, the vroom vrooms. And it's just our day, it's just me and him. My husband does work on Fridays. So it's just me and him. And it's so special that time. And I never want to look back and to change going back to the Monday through Friday, because I've got to see what that looks like, being able to spend that time with him. Now, one day I will, but when he's young and growing up and not in, school yet, I think it's just important. And it's good for my mental health and my physical health as well. To have that time. It's been the biggest blessing he has, and the time I get to spend with him. Again, still working through, it's hard when you're running out of the office. You have so much stimulation at the office, dings, pings, people answering the phone, coming, needing your help, so much going on, to go home to just being there and being present. Again, I'm still working on it. I'm trying to give myself that time when I'm riding home at night to really decompress and to get ready for my role as a mother, going home and getting home in the evenings.
I love it.
And really doing better in that at night, just eating dinner together, doing things together, because you only have such a small window at night, especially when they're young. So
I love it. I love your answer. I think it's real. I think it's relatable. Very, very, very relatable. So you gave, I normally ask, how do you decompress? But I think you've answered that already, because full disclosure, I started Wine Down with Kev during the pandemic because I couldn't go out to see people and network like I liked. And someone suggested I do this to talk, and it's been mental therapy for me. Full disclosure. Well, you have told us about the family. Congratulations on the beautiful family that you have. Let's jump back into the insurance business. In Alabama, you mentioned just hiring the new person. Is it hard to get into the insurance business in Alabama for someone listening to this podcast and say, hey, Amanda sounds great. I'd love to work for her. How does someone get started in the insurance business in Alabama?
It's really not difficult to get started and become an insurance agent. So first, you have to get, you need your personal lines license. So you do need to study and sit for the personal lines exam, state exam. So there are numerous training courses online that you can take and study it at your own pace, and then sit for the exam, which can be done anywhere now. They changed that after the pandemic. You used to have to go into a location, but you can do it anywhere as long as your computer has a camera, so they can proctor you and make sure that you're, of course, not cheating or anything like that. So then you sit for the exam, you get fingerprinted, and then you apply for your license. There are fees involved. Whenever we bring on a new person, we do cover the cost of that for them. But really, you just have to have that entrepreneurial spirit, the motivation, the drive to want to start a new industry. And it's a lot to learn. The insurance industry, there's a lot. I mean, I still to this day, even with my background, learn something new very, very often. And it's an ever evolving industry. Things are always changing. So you have to be very adaptable, driven, self-motivated. You got to be energetic. You got to love people, obviously. But we really like to hire people from other industries and to teach them and train them what we do. I feel like people can do well if they have those qualities, and it doesn't matter if you have ever had insurance experience before. So
I love it. Someone's listening and they're wondering if you're hiring right
absolutely.
now. Are you looking right now? And
Absolutely,
what are
always.
you looking for? What are we looking for? What sort of attributes for someone that has no experience? Maybe they're coming from retail or food service. What are you looking for that new person that's coming and looking to work in your agency?
Just really a go-getter that loves working with people, loves the community that we live in, wants to help the community, not afraid of a challenge. It's really the first 6 months I typically tell people is where the grind really takes place. You're new to the industry. No one knows you do insurance. You haven't built a pipeline yet. So you have to be ready and have both feet in to take on the challenge at first. But then you can really grow organically through relationships. We're all about building relationships and getting to know our clients. So, if that sounds like something you would enjoy, we're very fast paced. We like to have fun. We love to look up and say, oh my goodness, we only have 1 hour left. And we like to have a lot of fun in our office. We are, as cliche as it may sound, we are very family oriented here because we spend more time together really than we do our own family. So it's important to have fun. So that's really the type of people we're looking for. People that like to have fun, people who love others, and love educating people, very driven, goal oriented, results oriented. We've had tremendous growth over the last almost 9 years. We're 3 times the size that we were when we bought the agency. So we want to keep up that growth. We want to keep being at the top. We're winners here, so I'm very competitive. So we like to be at the top of all the lists and get all the accolades and awards. So we're definitely wanting to grow and bring on go-getters and people that are excited about learning the insurance world.
Alabama, you heard it here first. So if you're looking for a change, you're looking for a great local agent to work for, this is it. So Amanda, I've seen a picture of your location online. It looks great. Do you have new customers lining up to buy insurance from you? Or is your digital presence and doing things online with social media important in your agency and maybe also important for a new person that's coming in so they can build their own organic referral based of future clients?
So that is a great question. A lot has changed. Even since the pandemic, a lot has changed with people coming in. So we would have some walk-ins for new business, but I think that has even decreased some since 2020. So a lot of what we do have current customers that come in a good bit that have been with our agency. You got to think our agency has been around for 43 years. So we have customers that have been with Allstate a very long time, even before our agency was established. So we have 40, 50, 60-year customers. We do still have people come in that want to sit down, do reviews or pay their bills. But the new customers, it's all really digitally done. And not many times do people walk in to buy insurance. It does happen a couple times a month, but definitely not daily. But really, through our social media presence, we do a lot of work with Google SEO. Just want to be at the top when someone's searching for insurance in our area, because we want to help as many people as we can. We have a goal of growing and doubling the households that we currently insure. Online presence, that's huge for sure. And then being in front of people through Google, through your websites, that's important as well. But people do love doing business over the phone. It's a fast world, busy world that we live in. So being accessible, through text message, that's huge. We utilize texting as much as anyone, because people are at work as well and they're busy. So email, text, online. I mean, we sometimes are on Messenger with people on Facebook or even through Instagram. But yeah, online presence is huge in this day and age. And it's something that I'm just getting my feet wet with, trying to learn from agents that have a great brand and social media presence. That's one of the things I'm doing in 2025 is really trying to do more of that. And sharing insurance tips is great too online. I love when I see my fellow agents sharing tips, because 9 times out of 10, people have never heard what you're sharing before.
And every day is a little bit different. So we talked about the snow that hit
Yeah.
Louisiana, Florida, Texas. That's just in time. And with your experience on cat teams, you know what to do. You know to encourage people, stay home, prepare, buy the stuff in advance. So let's go here. What you're doing digitally is obviously working. I checked your reviews. You got 741 reviews with a 4.7 star rating. People are saying wonderful things about your agency. How
Oh,
does that make
thank
you feel?
Oh, it gives me goosebumps, honestly, because that's what I dreamt of, you know. I do love sales, but customer satisfaction is huge for us, because we wouldn't be here without our customers. So a customer telling us we're doing a great job means more to me than anything. And I love that. And I love when we get great reviews. I love sharing with my team, you know, especially when they name drop one of our agents. I'm like, hey guys, look at this. And it just is, you can't get any greater satisfaction than that, you know, knowing that you're doing a great job and going above and beyond for your customers. It really means a lot. So
I love it. Amanda, you have been an amazing guest. Put it in the comments how awesome she has been. Give her the feedback that I can hear and think. Amanda, is there anything you want to share about your agency? Anything you're working on in 2025? Networking, sponsorships, anything that you're doing that you'd like to talk about before we wrap it up?
sure. We really, over the years, have been the type of place that if we hear about a need, we do everything we can to fulfill it. And we have never told anyone no to a sponsorship. If our clients' kids are in sports, we love sponsoring our local baseball, football teams, softball, cheerleading, whatever it may be. We are involved in a lot of network groups, whether that's just with other local business owners or lenders or realtors. We love helping our local churches, especially around the holidays. There's more of a need during the holidays, so we love doing that. But something that's been on my heart over the years is really partnering more with nonprofit organizations versus, you know, hearing a need and fulfilling it, but really coming alongside a nonprofit organization or multiple organizations to help and have more of you know, the presence of helping and having my team really spend volunteer hours helping. You know, obviously now that I'm a mom, children are dear to me. So I've already done some research on some local nonprofits that can help some children in our area. That's something that I want to do more of in 2025. You know, instead of just kind of hearing of things, actually be more intentional and consistent with that. So definitely looking for any advice from other agents as well who are working heavily with nonprofit organizations. Would love that. And then, like I said, just really getting out there. Someone told me when I first started in this industry and first became an agency owner, you have to be willing every single day to get out of your comfort zone in order to be successful in this industry. And that's something that I'll never forget. And it's something that has been so true. So just trying to continue getting out of my comfort zone. That's why I'm here today, you know? And having more of a presence and brand that people recognize. So
Amanda, thank you for getting out of your comfort zone. Thank you for jumping on
absolutely.
Wine Down with Kevin Span with Wine Down with Kev podcast. Thank you for representing the great state of Alabama. If you liked what you saw and heard today, please click on the link below to like and subscribe. And Amanda, you asked for advice in the nonprofit community involvement space. You and I will absolutely talk offline. I'd love to give you a
Awesome.
couple of tips to help all the people of Birmingham, Alabama know how awesome you are. And subscribers, watchers, viewers tuning in on live stream. Usually I have to work pretty hard to distinguish between an 800 number or a .com or a local agent. But I think Amanda has done an amazing job herself You're not going to find anyone on an 800 number or .com site for insurance that's going to talk to you about rates, but not about the reality of how does the promise we deliver show up. So if you agree with me, say something nice in the comments. Big shout out to Amanda Mitchell.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It was great to be here today. I appreciate you. Look forward to catching up offline.
Absolutely. And recording. He'll stop. Awesome, Amanda.